Teres major, a muscle that comes from here to here. A struggle for even the best. A graceful and lovely physical therapist I worked with had a bulge on her lateral shoulder that I questioned. "Don't touch it," she said. But then she invited me to brunch. A picture of her on the wall at her home. Hair flying, racket in hand. She had been a world champion badminton player, and pain ended her career. It looks like Teres major, but I don't know the counter strain. Let's look at Kindle's book, Muscle Book. The picture on page 117 gave us the clue. It's not in the new book. The new book is garbled. All right, that was just me making notes about Claire Frank. She said that she ended her career with him spraying ice ethanol or something to make it no pain so that she could finish doing the downward stroke. It was locked so that she could whack that bird better than anybody else, but she never could get it relaxed. And it was after that that she took physical therapy and got her master's degree, and nobody had ever figured it out until we figured it out by using the measurement that we found in the book by Florence Kindle that I've described earlier as a real pioneer in the study of how muscles affect the body and has been largely ignored. That's a very short poem, but I just thought it was fascinating that her damaged, locked muscle was what made her world champion for 2 years until the pain was too great. I didn't explain. By looking in the book to see how you measured the strength of that muscle, we put her in that position and it released. And then she figured out a way to stretch it after it was released. We got the bunch of it, the bulge down, and then she kept it. What did she tell me she did? She started lying over her coffee table and studying. I don't remember. She was a very bright, beautiful young lady, and she found out a way to keep that relaxed afterwards. And it did tickle me because she was much more qualified than I was, and yet she figured I knew something, and she took me to Bullock's Pasadena to a really great fancy lunch, and I thought, what's all this about? But she wanted to pick my brains. At Kaiser Sunset, I worked for 13 weeks twice, and I remember walking into the office, the front receptionist, and I heard a couple of them receptionists say, "Oh, Leota has an empty spot on her schedule. We could sell that for money." I sort of laughed to myself. And then later on, when my boss gave an evaluation on a scale of 1 to 10, she said she's a 20. So I had fun working in that particular office because Kaiser is interested in getting their people well, and they'll go to any lengths to solve the problem. In fact, let me tell a couple stories about Kaiser. I don't know why I didn't keep working there. I guess because I didn't live here in California at the time. I lived in Ohio. We had 18 booths around a central area that was the gymnasium, and there was a man named the same name as Elizabeth Taylor's latest boyfriend. I can't remember what it was. And he had terrible hip pain, and almost everybody had a shot at what he at him. And I discovered that he had a scar on the inside of his leg, and that was from the saphenous vein being taken out for and replacing a vein in his heart. And that when I loosened that up, the pain out here was gone. Well, he came out. Of course, I loosened it by getting up here in his groin, and he came out of the booth afterwards and said, she fixed it, it doesn't hurt anymore. And all these heads popped out. What did she do? What did she do? And he said, I'll never tell. Anyway, it was a rather personal procedure, but not inside. It was it was just up there where, as they say, the sun don't shine. Anyway, the other thing that happened, once or twice doctors would even come and stand outside my booth to see if they could hear what I was doing. And there was a very well-built weightlifter that everybody had treated, and his shoulder hurt. And I finally discovered that it was the long head of the triceps. This was way back in the beginning, and I loosened that and resolved it. And then when I fell on my elbow and was scheduled for surgery, and we've talked about this already, I didn't remember how I had loosened him up. I didn't make the connection. And it wasn't until I'd had 8 months of pain and settled for 1/4 of what I should have settled for, and what workman's comp was going to give me, but I settled because the hospital had somebody interview me and say, well, we'll give you $17,000. And I said, oh, okay. And then 2 weeks later, I get a $57,000 settlement, but it's too late to take it. So I don't know why I'm putting that in here, because I don't care this is not going to go out to the public. So the irony of it is, I didn't figure this out, neither did all the physical therapists, nor the surgeons that were going to shave off my bone. We've talked about that before. And here I had already done this combination. And that is why, if you're smart, you're going to work with AJ, who is Andrea Johnson, who has hundreds of these combinations. She's cataloged them. And so you don't have somebody like me that's forgotten what she did, or that she put her wallet in a different purse. That's what I did this morning. Off each one or whatever. You got it on? Mm-hmm. Painkillers. Please don't take them when you're looking for an answer. You don't cover the dashboard's gauge because you're afraid of information. Listen to the message. Don't kill a messenger. Pain is your best friend. Okay. I think I've said that before, but I just want to... Okay, no, that one's too long and complicated. Can you just take that picture, and I won't bother to read it, but it'll be... Conjecture. It's fun to think. Conjecture bores me. I agree with the ancient thinker who said to his philosopher friends, let's stop talking about how many teeth a horse has and go out and count them. Let's concentrate on what works and not on what doesn't. If Samoan women who don't wear bras have no cases of breast cancer, and Samoan women who do have the same percentage of cancer as American women do, as shown on 2020, isn't there a message here somewhere? I love my work. Much of the time the patient shows me a better way. Of course, this is after I explain my version of the problem, they have said, why hasn't anyone ever told me? I don't know, that poem doesn't do much for anything, does it? It's there.
Yeah.
Successes, not from my mistakes. If a patient says, now that hurts, and repeats it more than once, I say, if we are traveling and you keep saying that's the wrong road, we wouldn't get there very fast. Much better if you tell me how to do it right. Don't dwell on what went wrong and imprint it on your brain. Say it once, let it go. The wound heals best that is not scratched. Strains you test to see if they hurt are emphatically saying what my dear 3-year-old granddaughter said, don't do that. That's not very good.